Hey everyone, Dr. Mary Edwards here. Today, we're talking about a very specific kind of silence, the kind that happens when you're sitting right next to the woman you love, yet somehow you've never felt more distant. There are no arguments, no shouting, no obvious problems, just space. Emotional distance that you can't quite explain, but you can definitely feel. This is for the men who feel invisible. You show up every day. You provide. You fix things. You handle responsibilities. You're a dependable partner, a present father, a man who does what needs to be done. On paper, you're doing everything right. But let's be honest. The romance in your relationship? It's gone. The spark that once felt natural now feels forced or completely absent. Maybe it's been months, maybe even years. Or maybe when intimacy does happen, it feels mechanical, like she's checking a box instead of actually wanting you. And that hits deeper than most men admit. At some point, without realizing it, you stopped being the man she desired and became the man she's comfortable with. You became predictable. You became safe. You became her roommate. And the hardest part? You're actually trying. You're putting in effort. You're being patient, supportive, understanding. Yet somehow, the more you lean into being the good guy, the less attraction you seem to get in return. If that's where you are right now, pause, because what you're experiencing is more common than you think. And more importantly, it's reversible. In this video, I'm going to show you how to shift that dynamic and bring back the tension, the excitement, and the connection that's been missing. We're going to break down 4 powerful psychological shifts that will move you from being the safe option to becoming the man she can't stop thinking about. By the end of this, you'll understand why being overly nice often backfires and how to apply what I call the 90% rule to restore attraction in a way that feels natural, not forced. Point 1. It starts in the mind. I'll keep repeating this until it truly sinks in. Your brain is your most powerful sexual organ. And this isn't just a catchy line, it's how human connection actually works. For most people, especially women, attraction doesn't begin physically. It begins psychologically. It begins with stimulation, not of the body, but of the mind. Feeling seen, feeling engaged, feeling emotionally activated. If your conversations have become routine, predictable, purely logistical, then attraction slowly fades. But when you make her think, when you challenge her perspective, when you make her laugh so hard she forgets everything else, that's not just nice conversation, that's foreplay, real foreplay. Attraction grows in moments where she feels something, not just hears something. Point 2, you need to create space. Now I know this one can feel uncomfortable, because when you sense distance, your natural reaction is to close the gap. You try harder, you give more, you become more available, more attentive, more present. But here's the paradox. Too much availability can quietly suffocate attraction, because desire doesn't live in certainty. It lives in the unknown. It lives in the moments where someone wonders about you, thinks about you, feels your absence just enough to miss it. This is where the 90% rule comes in. Give her 90% of what makes her feel secure, but leave 10% untouched. That 10% is where curiosity lives. That 10% is where attraction rebuilds itself. That 10% is what makes her lean in again. What does that actually look like? It means you don't immediately respond to every message. It means you stop over-explaining your thoughts and emotions. It means you're present, but not constantly seeking validation or reassurance. It means you have a life, a focus, an energy that doesn't revolve entirely around her, because here's the truth. When a man is 100% predictable, he becomes background noise. But when he's 90% present and 10% a mystery, he becomes intriguing again. Point 3. Get comfortable with flirting again. This is something I see all the time. Men don't lose their ability to flirt, they suppress it. They become cautious, reserved, almost afraid of expressing desire. There's hesitation, a kind of internal filter that says, don't be too much. And that hesitation kills tension, because attraction needs playfulness. It needs edge. It needs a little unpredictability. Flirting isn't about being crude or over the top. It's about energy, it's about tone, it's about saying something simple, but in a way that carries intention. Women don't just respond to words, they respond to how those words feel. And here's the other thing important: women enjoy sexual tension just as much as men do. They want that spark, that anticipation, that feeling of being wanted, not in a desperate way, but in a confident, grounded way. So stop holding yourself back. Stop apologizing for your attraction. Own it with calm confidence. Point 4. Slow everything down physically. This is where most relationships lose their depth, not because there's no attraction, but because everything becomes rushed, predictable, transactional. Physical connection turns into a sequence instead of an experience. And when that happens, the magic disappears, because the magic was never in the act itself. It was in the buildup, the anticipation, the moments in between. Think about that pause right before a kiss. That split second where everything feels charged, where nothing has happened yet, but everything is about to. That moment often carries more intensity than the kiss itself. Why? Because your mind is fully engaged in possibility. So bring that energy back. Slow your movements. Let your touch linger. Let it communicate something without rushing to the next step. A hand resting gently on her back, fingers tracing slowly along her arm. A moment of eye contact that lasts just a second longer than usual. Touch her like you're not in a hurry, like you have all the time in the world, because restraint builds tension, and tension is what creates desire. Look, attraction isn't random. It's not something only lucky couples have. It's a skill, and like any skill, it requires awareness, intention, and consistency, especially in long-term relationships, because over time, people evolve. Dynamics shift. The things that worked in the beginning won't always work later, but that's not a problem. That's the opportunity. You get to rediscover each other. You get to explore new layers. You get to rebuild that connection in a deeper, more meaningful way. And that's not effort. That's the reward of staying connected to someone over time. If this resonated with you, make sure you subscribe. I'm Dr. Mary Edwards. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.